Today on Boring Gear Reviews, we have the brand new pedal from Blind Panic Devices, the B2. Thanks so much to Matt from Blind Panic Devices for sending me the B2. All right, so this pedal comes out today, and I'm just going to say it right off the bat. This thing is wild. It is a fuzz, delay, MicroLooper with some modulation and pitch and octave and synthy qualities. But for the most part, it's a fuzz and delay, but it is like super, super unique and like completely new. I've never played a fuzz like this. For controls, we have level. That will control the overall output of the pedal while it's on. Next, we have mix. All the way to the left is just the fuzz. And then the more right you turn it, the more you're introducing the delay. Then we have time, which will control the length of the time between the repeats. And speed will control the speed of the LFO style modulation. On the bottom row, we have texture, and this will be like the voicing of the fuzz. So all the way to the left, it's more kind of thick and doomy. And the more right you turn it, it gets a little thinner, a little splattier and spittier. And also turning that up will decrease the feedback for the looping. Next up, we have flutter, and this will control the amount of pitch and like time shift. And it's also dynamic, so your pick attack will have a lot to do with that too. Next up, we have feedback, and this will set the amount of output signal feeding back into the input. Wave is your waveform setting, so to the left is triangle and to the right is square. And then in the middle, it's kind of like a wacky free-for-all. Next up, we have intensity, and this will be the LED controlling the optical LFO. And then we have depth, which will control the amount of modulation sent to the time control, and increasing the time will also increase the depth. And in the bottom, we have 4 switches. The first one will be an on-off for the flutter control. Next up, we have our feedback switch. So in the up position, the feedback is always on, and the foot switch will kill that. And then in the down position, the feedback is off until you press the foot switch. Next, we have our LFO switch, and this will engage or disengage the optical LFO modulation. And lastly, we have a mode select for the LFO. So in the down position, it's normal, and in the up position, it's heavy. And lastly, we have a bypass foot switch and a feedback foot switch. For today's demo, I'm using my 2013 Gibson Les Paul Traditional, and this has Sunbear 59 PAF pickups. And from there, we'll be running into my Universal Audio Apollo X6, and then into the Softube JMP 2203 amp plugin. All right, in this first clip, we're gonna have the level set around 2 o'clock. We're gonna have the mix at 3. The time is almost all the way off. So it's like, I don't know, what is that? 7 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock. We're gonna have the speed maxed. On the next set of controls, we're gonna have the texture around 8 o'clock, the flutter around 7 o'clock. We're gonna max the feedback knob. We're gonna roll the LFO all the way back. And we're gonna have both mode and depth maxed. And on the bottom, we're gonna have everything in the downward position except for the LFO, which will be in the up position. Okay, so the fuzz in the B2 is kind of like if you have like a synth or glitch fuzz, but you take the glitching out and you're left with this very kind of square, sharp fuzz. You can warm it up, with the texture knob, but it is like super punchy, really kind of Velcro-y, and it makes for a great fuzz sound. We're gonna also have the delay time at like a kind of like a slapback level, but like a very tight slapback. So you get this almost like tin can, oil can delay thing happening. Super awesome. I love that sound. And then when we go up to some higher notes and some kind of lead type of work, it really kind of shines in that atmosphere. One of the things I really enjoyed about this also is because of the delay, it sounds like you're in kind of like a large, like a garage almost. I love that sound. So enjoy. right, so for our next clip, we're going to use the MicroLooper. So we're going to keep the level set around 2. We're going to max the mix. I'll have the time set at 2 as well. I'm going to roll the speed all the way back. We're going to have the texture at 9. The flutter is completely off. Feedback is at 10. Wave is at 11. And then we have the intensity and depth rolled all the way off as well. We're going to start with the flutter in the downward position. The feedback switch will be up, and then the LFO will be down, and then the mode will be up. So kind of like the heavy LFO. Later in the clip, I'm going to toggle the LFO on and off rapidly, and then eventually I'll leave it on at the end. It just makes for such awesome, like crazy pitch kind of dives and weird glitching stuff. One thing about this pedal is that it's very surprising. It's not a typical like, oh, it's just a fuzz and a delay. It really is quite unique, and every setting is very interactive with the next setting, which is kind of what you'd expect from a pedal with 14 controls on it. It just allows you to really explore and get lost in like this super cool and chaotic world of like fuzz, and the way that the fuzz interacts with the delay and the way the delay interacts with the fuzz. It's rad. One thing I find really awesome about this is like the looper, even though I have the mix all the way up, the looper doesn't interfere with your playing. So it'll play, it'll loop. And then when you play more, it kind of like takes a back seat, and then it'll take whatever you just played and then loop that. And it allows you to kind of teeter on this line between like chaos and structure in a way that I don't know if I've seen that before. And we're also going to be pairing that with the Death by Audio Rooms for like a very big digital reverb. And lastly, we're going to play with some really crazy pitch bendy stuff here. So again, we're going to have the level at 2, we're going to have the mix at 11, the time at 9, and the speed at 11 as well. We're going to have the texture at 11, the flutter at 8, the feedback at 9, the wave is going to be maxed, and then the intensity at 11, and the depth is maxed as well. We're going to have all the switches in the upward position. So crazy pitch bends and warps and stuff like that. And I want to really highlight the fact that, so when I'm playing more single notes and I'm allowing that space, those bends and warbles take, a big part of the stage as I want it to happen. And then at the end, when I start doing more chords, all that stuff just like falls behind your playing. So you don't have to like go down and adjust the mix or turn anything on or off, just like really based on your dynamics, like your pick hand dynamics in particular, the sound will kind of do what you need and want it to do. So there's all this crazy pitch variation, but then when I start doing chords, it kind of just goes underneath so you can hear the chords. And then if I let it ring out, then that stuff kind of swells back up again. I think that is the thing that impressed me most about this pedal, is how well it communicates with your play style. That is definitely not something every pedal can do, and it is definitely not something every like super aggressive fuzz can do. Anyway, enjoy. that'll do it for the B2 from Blind Panic Devices. As I said at the top of the video, this thing comes out today, so check the link in the description if you want to grab one. I didn't really know what to expect when Matt sent this over. I know that everything he does, he approaches from a completely unique perspective. Like truly, when I look at his pedals, I don't see redundancy in what he's doing and then, comparatively to what other people are doing. Like his approach is very unique, very singular, and super interesting. I really dig pedals that are outside of the box and truly push you away from like the sound that you're familiar with and put you in a space that feels very new and fresh and exciting and scary and dangerous. I love that. So if you feel the same way, like I said, check the links in the description and don't forget to hit subscribe, like, share, comment. I appreciate it. Definitely helps the channel out quite a bit. And don't forget to head on over to my Instagram to learn about the pedal giveaway I'm doing. And until next time, peace.